I have a big thanks for our social worker and our safe coordinators, because children now, even the adolescents now, my grade group now, is I hear stories from other schools and I'm like going, you had what at your school? Yeah, the kid tried to do something to himself. And I'm like going, nah. And they're like, yeah, you need to watch this person. See people come in and get swooped out of my class. And I'm like going, what was that all about? Oh, well, they had something they weren't supposed to have. And you're just like, huh? And so it's becoming more and more nowadays that everything. So I'm Gen X. I'm like, it was like, okay, you're fine. Drink from a water hose. You're fine. But, you fell down. Okay, get up, brush off and go on. But now it's kind of like, are you okay? Did that do something to you? Are you going to be afraid? And it's evolving where they're needing more help. They can't just brush it off now.
Yeah. Do you ever get to have an opinion like with your own like bosses, I guess, or maybe as a whole? I don't know if you could speak on like every school, but I'm curious to know if like you have an opinion of like what can be improved, because you are all in the classrooms. You see the kids every day. You're the ones like in the nitty gritty. Like the other people, like the higher ups, the admin, things like that, they're not like in there. Like I feel like you should have more of a say of how things can run a little bit better.
No. I mean, to a degree, we can say, there's a kid on campus that I know because I taught him in summer school. I was the only adult on campus that actually he would trust. And so if he got in trouble, they're like going, yeah, could you please have this child in your class for just for a little while until the end of the day? I'm like, whatever, sure. Come on in. Go sit over there. Don't talk. And, but it was also to the point that I had the tough love with that child too. And I was like I'm like, what did you do? I didn't do anything. Okay, whatever. Go over there and sit down. And so it was just and then they would try talking to my student. I'm like, no, you're not talking to my student. You're in trouble. You leave my students alone. You stay over there. Are you mad at me? I'm like, I'm upset with the choices that you made. I'm not mad at you, so to speak, but you can't talk while I'm trying to teach the other students. So, but we have opinions and we can tell admin this, that, or the other, but a lot of times it goes in one ear and out the other because they have to do what they have to do. So depending upon the circumstance.
That's what I was going to say. I think a lot of times is that when you're a teacher, and especially when you've been in it a long time, and I came into it before Rennie, but you learn to navigate all the standards and everything else, but you still are you. So it's almost like you're kind of your own boss, but a lot of it is just like being who you are. And that's the thing. And, she's tough. She is. But it's never about her, and that's the thing. It's like they know because she builds that connection. And so they know, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go to so-and-so class. And then she's like, sit down.
Yeah.
But it's that consistency. And that's where so many of these kids, like even when we would talk with other teachers and stuff, they're like, how come you guys don't have any problems? I'm like, well, they'll have problems, but this is where it is. Like, it's just consistent because it's like, no matter if they're good, bad, or indifferent, they know she's always going to be her. I was always going to be me. And that was something I think a lot of times they don't get.
It sounds like you set up boundaries and you set up
a lot of structure.
Right.
A lot of structure. And that's what some of these kids thrive for is the structure.
But they do because some of them don't have it at home. And that's as a school social worker, I saw a lot of that where, they were resistant at first. But when you start to set the classroom expectations or, what's required of them, they started falling in line with that because they did not have that at home.
So yeah. I'm always known as, you're the mean teacher that yells in the hallways. Okay, come in here and sit down and do your work. And then they get to know me. They're like going, last year I thought you were so mean. I go, because were you walking the wrong way down the hallway? And they're like, yeah. I said, did we argue? Yeah. Was I right? Yeah. How do you feel about me now? I love you. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm still the same.
I haven't changed.
It's funny. You made me think about like even us as adults, like even though, yes, of course, kids need structure, they need discipline, they need consistency. But I feel like adults, like even with our bosses or if like we're in school or university, like we need to know and have consistency with our leadership, which it could be a boss or it could be, like a professor. Because like as soon as you start talking about like how you are, it made me think of one of my mentors who was a professor of mine in my undergrad, Dr. Gustopoulos. She's still at FIT and she's like freaking amazing. And she was known as the hard ass professor. Like either you hated her or you loved her. So people warned me before I took her class and I was like scared to death. But I'm walking in there and you knew what her expectations were of everybody. If you were late 20 seconds, your door was shut. Like the door was shut. You were not allowed to be late to her class. Like all these things were set up. She let you know ahead of time. It was in her syllabus. And her and I still to this day can call her up and she loves me and I love her and I have respect for her. Who did she pick for one of her top internships? Me, because she knew.
We knew that.
But she knew that she could count on me. But I steered her in the right way because I knew that just because I was a good student, if I didn't follow her rules or follow her syllabus, she was going to be like, get out.
Right.
And so you made me think like, we all need that. And we need that as a leadership.
Yeah.
You know?
That consistency.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the problem with this year at our school. We've had so many leadership changes and teachers have come to me and I'm like going, just breathe. That's all I can tell you to do is just breathe. Manage what's going on in your room and don't worry about anything out there. I go, if it's something we need to deal with, come to me and I will help you out. So, because I'm also one of the mentors for teachers.
You should be mentors for the parents too.
Oh, that's a whole nother podcast.
We need a whole nother podcast for that.
Well, I mean, I know in our field too, we struggle in a different way when it comes to, seeing kids or teenagers and stuff and, having them come in. And a lot of parents, unfortunately, they're like, here, fix my kid. They're having all these issues at home. And then once you dive deeper, how are they at school? They have straight A's. They never get in trouble at school. Well, as soon as they get home, they do X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's see where that comes from. If they can turn it off for 8 hours at school and then turn it on, like there's something that's not right. And they don't see it that way. So sometimes we have to educate our parents and see what that bottom line is.
Oh yeah, but I can't do that.
I know. We can't. That's what's right. We do it. So we normally don't have a problem doing it because your child is in here for a reason, you know? So.
I mean, and Rennie knows, because also, like I said, we know each other in athletics but the parents that know us, and that was a good thing is that because we taught at the middle school, that was the middle school that fed into the high school. And so we got brothers and sisters and, we knew these families so well. Plus, like I said, her daughter cheered for us at the high school, but we were at the middle school. So there was a lot of like systems work already being done. But a lot of times it's like, even though, the parents would be like, we got them. They just like, hey, so-and-so, such a, I got you. Don't worry about it. So there was some of that like reciprocity with some of our good families. They're all good families. But
I would like, really? I'm going to call Cheryl up on the phone. No, you're not. On my cell phone.
Yep.
Hey, Cheryl, you're on speakerphone. I've got your child, little Johnny, sitting in front of me. Ah, hell, what'd he do now? Okay, well, this is what he did. She goes, take me off speaker and put him on the phone. Okay, it's for you.
Yep.
In the middle of class. And I'm just like going, no, because I've taught so many families. I'm like, are you the last one? No, there's 4 more. What? There's 4 more here? Okay. So, but by that time I've got the rapport with the family because I've already taught all the older brothers and sisters. I'm like going, okay, here we go.
Love it.
Well, and even with that, like people always say, how did you teach middle school, high school? I said, you got to be crazier than them.
Yeah.
You literally do because they literally don't think that and then they go, I'm not doing that again because you know what she did to me last Tuesday? They're like, I know who you have for science. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would tell them all the time. I'm like going, okay, first of all, I haven't had my coffee this morning. Second of all, I haven't had my meds. So the voices in my head are going a little bit crazy.
And they like don't know like if she's
being honest or not. So every now and then they look at me and they're like going, did you take your meds this morning? And it's nothing for that.
Yeah.
It's, it's just my vitamins.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like going, and there's times I'm like going, oh, dear Lord, remember, these are not my children.
They're probably like, she is crazy.
They're like going, who's she talking to?
Who is she talking to? That's great.
So then they like calm down because they realize they're not the crazy.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.